Welcome back to another episode of the Natty Teacher. I am, of course, your host. Who else but the Natty Teacher? And today is our second leg day of the week, and actually our final training session of our 8-day training block. Again, as a reminder, my current split, very simple: push, pull, legs, rest. Push, pull, legs, rest. So we have a good hard leg day to close us out, and then we get to look forward to a nice complete rest day tomorrow, because here's how I structure my cardio work, by the way, in the off season. So yes, I am absolutely going to get a little bit thicker and a little bit fluffier in the off season for sure. You guys watch some of my old videos from like last summer when I was competing, back in like May and June and such. You can see even in my face, it was very, very, very much so, much thinner, much more sunken in. But you got to get big to get bigger, put it that way. And got to get big in the off season to get bigger on stage. So regardless, definitely as lean as I've ever been though at this weight, hovering right around 220 pounds, and still having very much so visible abs, to the point where they're actually, some of them are even still, like sunken in. I'm very happy with that. Definitely blurry, but very much so, much leaner than I have been in the past at this weight, so I'm very happy with that for sure. Regardless, good hard leg session before a good rest day tomorrow with cardio. Here's how I work it. So I do not do any core or cardio. Well, core work actually I do a little bit of before my leg session, so I shouldn't say that. But cardio, I do zero cardio on leg days before or after training legs. And, for now that has seemed to work very well. So I want to continue to do that. The whole point of that, and it's more a mental thing than anything, like doing a cardio session early in the morning and then training legs in the afternoon. I mean, let's be real, especially if you have a couple meals in between, you're good and hydrated, it's probably going to be essentially no difference to your normal training. Still should be able to make progress and all that fun jazz. For me though, I don't want to risk that. Legs was the biggest area in which I needed to make substantial improvement before getting back on stage, especially if I'm looking to compete at the higher, in the higher ranks of like NPC natural shows. A lot of these guys, again, it's not that we have any mass monsters usually competing in classic physique in the NPC, but very conditioned and very good separation, in the body and including the legs. And that was something I definitely lacked on stage. Upper body was pretty solid, but lower body conditioning and just overall musculature definitely had quite a bit of room for improvement. So, so I don't want to risk that. So I don't do any cardio on leg days before or after training. And I do cardio, basically here's how it works. I do cardio and core work in the mornings, unless I'm training on a weekend day. Even then, I still do in the mornings on all 4 of my upper days. Okay, so any push-pull sessions, they will, all of them have core and cardio work in the morning. And then one of my 2 rest days, I will do core and cardio work either in the morning or in the afternoon, like after work or something like that. Usually in the morning though. So all it is right now is I'm just using a recumbent bike at 5 resistance for 25 minutes. That's it. I'm trying to keep the RPMs usually around that 70 to 75 RPMs. So nothing super, super intense, but enough to where I'm, gets me going a little bit, gets a little sweat going and all that. Like, so it's not super, super intense cardio right now. Very, very much so like low, medium intensity type cardio for sure. But regardless, that's what we're looking at right now. And my core work is very simple. It is just comprised of stomach vacuums, 5 rounds of like 10 to 15 second holds, usually closer to those 10-second holds because I'm really pulling hard, of stomach vacuums. And then 2 rounds of 1-minute holds on planks, and then 2 rounds of 10 reps per side. And if you know the exercise, you'll know what I mean, of dead bugs. So usually that takes me in the morning about, to get all my core work in before cardio, is about 12 minutes-ish. I know it's kind of almost, it's very precise, but it's usually about 12 minutes. And then 25 minutes cardio. So usually I try to allot myself roughly 40 to 45 minutes in the morning to make sure that I get all of that in, get up early enough to get all of that in effectively without having to rush or anything. So tomorrow, the nice thing is, because it's my second rest day, that is the like complete rest day. So no core, no cardio. It is just eating some good food and getting primed up and relaxed and rested and ready to rock and roll for the next week of training. So, yeah. What do we got on the docket today for legs? Well, we'll get in there, do a little bit of mobility work. I do have a little bit of ab training as well today, both before and after, my leg session. So I have some decline crunches to get us started. So we'll go in and knock that out right away. have a little bit of core work. We'll do 2 1-minute rounds of planks. Make sure that core is nice and tight and braced and ready to rock and roll. We'll work on our mobility work. So we'll do that. Get those knees nice and primed up, ready to rock and roll. Get the hips nice and loose and ready, and then we'll jump into lying hamstring curls. Usually I can warm up on that once I'm done with all my mobility work pretty quickly. So we'll build up to our top set there. We got 3 working sets of lying hamstring curls. Can never have big enough hamstrings, and I don't. So I definitely want to continue to prioritize that. That's the first exercise I do in both of my leg sessions is lying hamstring curls. Then we have leg press, so move right into a compound movement. We have 3 working sets there as well, keeping in that usually 12 to 15 rep range, 12 to 20 at the most, but not with a light weight though. I don't want you to think it's like, oh, it's light. Just the way that leg press is structured, like the actual exercise itself, I have found that because it is, for me, not quite as taxing on the knees as like, something where the weight's loaded on your back, like a hack squat or a back squat, what have you. I usually like to throw in a 3rd working set and also keep the reps a little bit higher, and I can still use some pretty heavy loads there as well. So that's kind of the logic behind it. After that, we go to our hinging movement. I logically have a hinging movement in each training session, but the one hinge is more of a supported hinge, if that makes sense, because it's off a hyperextension. But logically, we are still hinging the lower back. We do have our kind of heavier loaded from the floor hinge movement. So we'll have our barbell stiff-legged deadlifts, 2 working sets there. So get to build up to a top set or a top weight. And as long as it's within that 8 to 10 or so rep range, I'll just stick with that weight for 2 working sets. And then we'll end with some, again, kind of higher rep here, single leg extension. So really trying to work that rectus femoris and go from there. So, excuse me. That is the plan, my friends. That is what we're going to do. Again, it's a phenomenal session. Oh, and then after that, we will have some toe press as well, which will be my 3rd session of calves this week, 3rd, day of calves this week. So, I usually train calves on my first push day, on my first leg day, and then also on my last leg day. So I actually have, my first 2 calf sessions are pretty early on in the week, and then my last one is separated by a few days of rest. So I should be able to really load, or a few days of rest from calves. So I should really be able to load my calves pretty heavy today. They're pretty well rested. So, other than that, that's really about it, man. I got my post-workout meal packed with me. Got my pre-workout here that I'm going to take probably in the next 10, 15 odd minutes or so. I don't know if this blender bottle's broken. I feel like stuff keeps spilling out of it somewhere in here. I don't like it. And just as a reminder, pre-workout guys, it's simple for me. I'm a non-stim guy. Directly before I work out, like this morning, for example, I had like a purple monster. So it's about 100, I think somewhere between 140, 160 milligrams of caffeine. That was quite a few hours ago now. Better part of probably 2.5 hours ago, 2.5, almost 3 hours ago. So just to kind of get the juices flowing a little bit. But directly before I work out, I do prefer non-stim. I don't want to feel like that buzzed, kind of like anxious feeling and just go in there and just blah, kind of thing. Like I like being focused, more relaxed, calmer, all that kind of fun jazz. Those are my best workouts, or when I'm in the zone and I'm focused and relaxed. That's 10 times out of 10. Those are my best workouts. So, other than that, that's really about it. So I'm going to get in there and get warmed up and do my ab work and my mobility work. And we'll build up to our top set of lying hamstring curls, which will be coming at you right about now. All right, so to get us started here, just like we do with both of our leg sessions during the week, because I don't have access to a seated one, got some lying hamstring curls here. So again, we're shooting really for top sets within that 8 to 12 rep range or so. If I get to a weight where I'm hitting it for a set of 12 as my top set, that's when I know for me, it's time to add some weight. Okay, but until then, we're going to work with that until we get it. So we got a little bit more work to do at this particular weight. This was a session from a couple weeks ago, so I actually did not do this. These were, I did 3 straight sets for this particular, exercise. Last week's session, though, I actually did 3 mile rep match sets, which was the second one I was able to match my top set. The third one I actually failed a little short of it, but regardless, it is a great tool to use. So 3 working sets there. Then we move directly into our bigger compound movement of the day, which is just a good old school leg press. Again, really making sure that we have those feet in a position where we're able to get a ton of knee flexion, get those toes at least, if not slightly below the knees. That is the goal. And try to, again, create knee flexion without overdoing it to where it's like tearing up the knees or anything like that. Really try to put as much emphasis on the quads as we can, but obviously not afraid to get a little bit of a glute and hamstring in there as well. So 2 working sets here. At least that's what we've been rolling with lately as I've been getting, stronger and stronger on this particular movement. By the time I was getting to that 3rd working set, my legs were absolutely just toast at that point. So I've been working with 2 working sets for some of my bigger compound leg movements now. That seems to be in a much sweeter spot for me, for sure. So definitely digging that for sure. So these ones, again, I keep the reps a little bit higher. You probably won't ever see me do a leg press below 10 to 12 reps. I just find that is kind of the balance between proper load and still keeping technique good, and being able to really go as hard as we can for this particular exercise. Like a squat pattern, you might see me dip below that 10-12 mark, maybe closer to 6 to 8 for a top set sometimes. But leg press, I usually keep in that 10 to 15 rep range or so. So lately we've been keeping those rep ranges closer to 15, I believe. This was a set of 15, and if I'm not mistaken, we did a second set with this weight for 15 as well. Not even a myo rep match, just like another relatively straight set. But you do see me catch my breath a few times here in this set. I am a big advocate of that. Again, I'm not going to sit there and hold it for like 20 seconds each time, maybe a count of like 5 to 7 or so, for these shorter breaks, but just enough to where I can kind of recoup, and catch my breath and keep moving forward. So, this set was a grinder, to say the least, for sure. But we did it, plugged it in, and did what we had to do to continue to make that progress forward. So, anyways, 2 working sets there. Then into our second bigger movement, which is just a barbell stiff-legged deadlift. Now, again, before anybody tries to come at me, look, I know there is a slight bit of rounding here for sure, but guys, it feels great. It feels great. It feels comfortable. I don't really feel a ton of tension in my lower back, or more than I would need. I'm still trying to keep my head and chest in a pretty solid position here, but I have found for me, just having a very slight bend in the knees, kind of tracking that bar down the legs as we come down, that's kind of been a nice cue for me, is just kind of following the path of the legs down, so we're not, hunched over the weight, kind of kick those hips and that and those glutes back a little bit, and just track the bar down. That seems to work really, really well. So we were able to add 10 pounds here and match our top set, and then actually do a back off set where we not only were up in weight, but we went up 2 reps, I believe. This is from a couple weeks ago, but regardless, it was great stuff. So was very happy with that. This is an exercise that has definitely been, has become a staple for my hamstrings in particular, and just overall leg development, but obviously mainly hamstrings. So definitely excited to continue to progress that, which we did last week. Hi, honey. Then we have our single leg extensions here. 3 working sets here. This one, I think this week, I'm not sure. I might have just done 3 straight sets. I'm not 100% sure. But regardless, what I've been doing lately with some of these, I guess you could argue, more accessory movements, is doing myo rep match sets. So like my lying hamstring curls, this particular exercise, like my single leg extensions, and then like even in my my regular leg extensions, like, with both legs at the same time at the other gym, I've been doing that as well, where I've been doing myo rep match. And that seems to be awesome, and still enough to where I can recover from.
Session in the freaking
I'm cutting you out for all. My bad.
Crap.
Here we go.
That was a great leg workout. Phenomenal session. Phenomenal session. But I'm feeling it. Wow, I could tell even after like leg press today. And I ended up only doing, I flipped it. I did 2 working sets of leg press and then 3 working sets of single leg extensions after that. Later on for direct quad work. So I flipped it and did, a little more volume for, some not so fatiguing exercises, and a little less volume for the bigger, more fatiguing exercises, which is usually the way to go. You want to go balls to the wall for a set or 2 on your bigger movements, and usually for more of those isolation type things that aren't going to tax you as much, 2 to 3, even 4 working sets sometimes is the way to go if you're trying to get that weekly volume in. So I just flipped them. I mean, I'm glad I did. Because I was able to actually add 30 pounds to my leg press and still was able to hit a two sets of 15 with an additional 30 pounds from last week. Like, that's huge. That is huge progress. So that was a big jump. Felt really good. Felt really strong. Was extremely challenging, but was still awesome. So yeah, phenomenal session, man. Reps, weight added. You know, it's everything and more that I would have wanted from a session. So great stuff. So yeah, rest day tomorrow. Complete rest day tomorrow. So that'll be really, really nice. Be able to just kind of kick it, relax. You know, get ready for the week. I had a nice short week this week because my students have exams this week, so that's cool. So we have like a 3-day week and then 2 half days for exams. So that'll be really nice. So can get out of school early, both Thursday and Friday, and then, you know, have a long weekend for Martin Luther King Day on Monday. So that's cool. Other than that, what do I got going on? Not a whole lot, man. Not a whole lot. So the next session you guys will see after this will be a push session, our first push session of the week, push A. So that'll be awesome. I'm excited to get into that. Definitely making some great progress in those training sessions as well. So excited to keep that moving forward. But other than that, man, I'm going to go home and chill out for a bit. Got my sweet treat here. Kind of saved the rest of my caffeine intake for the day here with a rain sour gummy worm I'm going to slam down here in the next few minutes. And yeah, nice little sweet, little midday sweet treat and a little post-workout trophy, for lack of better terms. We'll go from there. So if you have not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hey man, it means the world to me. Really means a lot to the channel as well and our continued growth and moving forward. So I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. It really does mean a lot to me. It's really cool. So other than that, drop any comments, questions, or feedback you got down in the comment section below. If you have not already, make sure you like and share this video. And hey, first and foremost, God bless, guys. Second of all, not quite as important, of course, not even close. I am the Natty Teacher, and from myself and the whole Natty family, this episode of Road to Natty Pro, we'll get there, not yet though, is out. I will catch you guys on the next one.